Welcome back, and we're going to leap into another one of our playthroughs, and this one is for shotstone. And we're in desert. Clearly, I think this is desert rather than steppe due to the browner texture. And we're in some little ravine, chasm, gulch, you might call it. Some really colourful planting. I'd say there's a bit of Andre inspiration here, which is always great. There are a lot of cacti. Um, and yeah, we can zoom all the way out, and we can see that we're clearly within our 800 by 350 area. We've got some parallel holes, which is interesting. We'll have a look at that. Most people have been going for this sort of approach. So yeah, let's leap into it and see what we got. So our first, interesting bunkering. I think these two work beautifully. Like, they're really nicely done. Sculpting on those is great because you can see over them. I might lower the cacti so that you're not hitting dead over them, because I think those kind of get in the way of the bunkers a little bit. Just make them a bit smaller, stick them down here because it's just distracting a little. The one up here is less good. I think it's a little narrow, and as you can see, this side is very high, which I think you want. Yeah, based on how this plays, it's just really tricky because you've got it going high and then dropping down, and then you know you need to make it visible, so you kind of raise this side, and the shape's not really working with you either, in the sense that I think your inside edge of the bunker should usually be pretty smooth if you can. You can do the sort of ragged edges, but they shouldn't, like this sharp in and out. It's going to make it difficult, and then you can do the fancy stuff on the high side. But I think, yeah, this one's been trickier. I like this down the right hand side. Is there water down there? No, it's sand. So presumably not OB. Not OB is a good decision. Now, you'll notice when we started we were on 3 wood. I think that's partly your waypoint. So you want to place your waypoint where anyone can hit driver and not go into trouble, so that it will make them select driver. Therefore, I think it's probably really tricky because if you're looking dead on the line, you probably want to be placing your waypoint just about here so that it would give you the full spectrum of options, if that makes sense, where we're not too far right or too far left. Otherwise, I like it. I think we're a bit cacti heavy up here. You can use if you use them a bit more sparingly, I think they'll look better. But good opening tee shot, and yeah, I like the way you've bunkered this hole. I think bunker positions are great. Like, really good. Ooh, that is an ugly first swing. So I saw these on the flyover. Again, sculpting wise, you're getting there, but it's not. You can see how the fairway, basically the bunker texture is going right to the edge of the hill, which makes them look a bit awkward. You really want to pull that bunker texture down so the top of the bunker's about here, and the hill kind of keeps on extending. Then it will look really good. I think that's kind of the same with all the bunkers. Like, allow a bit of land behind the bunker and it will get better. But I love where you've put these two bunkers just to break up the view a little bit. And for a front pin, that would be really cool in terms of just visual deception. Like, that's great. Green itself it's relatively simple, but it's doing what I think it's doing what it needs to. I think I'm going to have to hit a 4 iron and partial it a touch, because I do not want to run out of space. And where you put those bunkers is really good, because even if I miss the fairway, it gives me something to think about. And I think that's something a lot of people will miss, of just like, how does the hole play if you miss a fairway? Like, don't always just rewind and then go again. Planting wise, this grass kind of leaps out as it's only really there and there. It's maybe the bright colour. That's tricky. I have laid up to an awful position. I can't get any. Oh, I don't know. We're going to have to go low on a pitch shot and try to fast it. And even then, it's not enough. Oh, there's a chip. Grass looks better. Like, it's one of those colours where it looks really good into the sun, when you can see from this angle the brightness. And here it looks good. Maybe it's just a little bit patchy on that first hole. So I just didn't really see that much of it. Probably high side, it would have been good if you could have used it. It just kind of came out of nowhere for this one. Following the par 5 with a par 3 that is... This green's a little too small. I think if we're ever getting to a stage where the whole aiming reticle doesn't really fit on a green, we've gone too small. And your bunkers are encroaching a little too much, which is why you're getting the edge of the fringe distorting a little bit. I think if you took this green and its slopes and just increased every dimension by about a third, like a couple of yards out here, trace it around, then I think you've got a really good green. And part of like early designs is often just getting scaling sorted. Otherwise, this is really cool. Love the little ravine. I'd have probably dropped this land here about 5 feet. Then you'll be able to, because if you look at the view we get from here, you'd love to be able to see that. Whereas if you drop that bit of land, you'll see so much more. Same with the tee. I think if you bring the tee just a touch further forward, look how much planting we see. And it's one of those little quirks of the game where you have to pull a few tricks with sightlines. Slow's not great. Let's go find one of those bunkers. I think the bunkers do kind of outsize the green a little bit. There's probably as much square footage, more square footage in bunkers than there is green, which I don't know. Oh, it's fine. Personal preference would be to probably make them a little bit smaller, but I think actually I'd just make the green bigger, and that solves all of the things here. But planting's really good. Oh dear goodness. Well, that makes up for that first chip. Okay, 5-3 start. Really enjoy that. It gives us variety straight out the gate. And then are we going drive ball 4? What an interesting start. Love it. I like that you've joined these two fairways. I'd go a little bit further. I mean, rather than why would we join and then make that tight angle, let's bring it around a bit more here, smoothly in here. To do that, you're probably just, rather than having the two, what it looks like is you've got one spline for this fairway and it sort of touches here and the other one touches here. Create a third spline around here and then just put brushes in. So third spline there, fourth even, brushes there. Good drivable hole though. And the green slopes make this one because I don't want to leave it high and left because I'll face a nasty little pitch down. You've given me a good layup area here, but I'm going to have to club down, and even then I'm playing close to the ravine. If I had one thing I'd probably change, I'd be tempted, rather than these bunkers which are kind of protecting you from this the ravine that you've got, let's put the green right up against these, or expand the waste area there. Then you can put these two bunkers to force people even further left. Like almost imagine you've got your green here and then these two bunkers. I think that's then a really intimidating tee shot. Let's try to play this smart and see how we go. Again, planting, I'd like not to see this and be able to see the fairway. I think sight lines are going to be, because we're going down 22 feet. And I don't think we need to go down that far. Great layup, Ben. At least we found light rough. Might actually help. Yeah, as good as some of the low-level sculpting is, I think your big stuff, like constructing sightlines, like bunkers, is still a bit of a work in progress. That's no bad thing. It takes people a number of courses to figure that out, but the ideas are great. Another par 3. The way you've been going with these holes, I'd have liked this one to be, just for a flow of holes point of view, just gone drivable 4, par 5, really short 3. I'd have liked this one to be a bit beefier. Like give me a long 3 of like you've had 3 kind of birdie opportunities. I mean 2 wasn't, but this one looks great. Just not much more to say. I think these two bunkers are really nice. You've opened up the front of the green. Might be tempted to bring this bunker in just a touch more on this side and diagonal the green a bit. And perhaps this green gives a little bit too much help with this, like 160 odd yards. Just expect a good shot, I think. But then again, I cannot hit a good shot, so yeah. Okay, we can hit a good shot. Yeah, the planting is so close. I love all that you're doing. I think it just needs a little bit of refinement, like not being in the way. Is this our longish for? Well, longer. Yeah, some of your bunkers are pretty hit and miss for shapes. Like these shapes are just kind of there. They're not really doing that much visually for me. I think hazard placement on this hole could be a little bit better for strategy. It's basically just asking you to hit a drive dead straight, which can be fine, but in game that can get a little boring because you can just take aim and none of them are really that in play. If I aim over that bunker, if I hit a slow, I'm still in the fairway. Whereas if we bring up the overhead, like thinking about where you've bunkered the green, well, if we bunkered the fairway pretty heavily on this side, so left, 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 that would also work really well with this hole in tandem. Pushes you further right, you're hitting a bit more at those bunkers, whereas left you're hitting kind of dead straight. Or you could do the reverse. You could bunker this side really hard and then bring those bunkers around on like a diagonal, which mean that if you end up in this sort of side of the fairway, you're going to be able to have a free look at the green, whereas if you're on this side, you're coming in over bunkers and have a trickier approach. I think this one's just, the bunker placement isn't quite as good as your previous holes. I mean, the previous holes have been done really well, so that's part of it. I do like the cart path you've done as well. That's working really nicely and fits. Like your sequencing of holes has been great. Like really varied just by length and par, and yeah, works well. Definitely on the easier end of the spectrum in terms of what you've given us. I think something. Oh, although 605 yards. Okay, it's going to lead. We'll see what we've got for our second shot, because I can potentially see an issue here. I mean, I'm hacking out of heavy rough anyway. Great. Okay, so let's say we weren't. We're still not really reaching this green. Maybe bouncing on. Yeah, we probably are. Take it back. Don't know. A pet peeve is really where a second shot on a par 5 is just to hack as far up the fairway as you can. Now, in this case, it's happening to me because I've missed the fairway, which I am absolutely fine with. Like, if you miss a fairway and you have to hack out, that's all good. I think this one could have been benefited by being a little shorter. There's a lot of wind here. I want to slow, no less. I think I've said it on other videos. It's more of a personal take. I'm not a huge fan of red slopes just dunking you into rough. I mean, at least you've given us light rough, so thank you for that. But I'd always rather see if we're running people off the green, like you've done here, put us in fairway. Like, short grass rolls further anyway. It will give you just generally more playing interest. Oh, go on. It took a little break. Oh, got a little bit over aggressive with that one. There we go. Oh, and some nice little flowery bits there. I mean, there's so much to like on that one. Oh, sequencing of holes was great. Ideas were really good. I thought your final 2 holes were maybe the ones that were probably a little weaker in terms of strategy. But the opening stretch, like the first 4 holes, great. Really enjoyed that and look forward to seeing what you go on and do next. And yeah, good luck in the contest.